Today is Wednesday, April 27th. We'll tell you who President Biden decided to let off the hook for crimes that put them in prison. And new data estimates how many Americans, including kids, have likely had COVID-19. It's definitely the majority of people. Also, how the nation's oldest and wealthiest college is confronting its racist past. Plus, there's a new way to save for retirement in Bitcoin. An Olympic champion is taking a mental health break. And a NASA astronaut is set to make history today. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. So at this point in the pandemic, if you have not gotten COVID-19, you are in the minority. New CDC data says about 60% of Americans have been infected, and that includes 75% of all American children. In other words, 3 out of every 4 children have had COVID-19. The numbers are expected to keep going up, too, since this virus is still spreading. The number of new cases is trending upward, especially in the Northeast. But not as many people are going to the hospital as compared to earlier waves of COVID-19. The virus has even reached the White House a few times now. Vice President Kamala Harris is the latest top official to test positive. But for now, she does not have any symptoms, and she plans to keep working from home until she tests negative. Vice President Harris credits the COVID-19 vaccine for keeping her feeling okay. And health experts agree that could have something to do with it, that the rising number of people who have either gotten the vaccine or recovered from COVID-19 in the past could keep millions of Americans from getting the most life-threatening cases. But they also caution previous infections don't guarantee protection moving forward. Military officials from more than 40 countries are now promising to send more weapons into Ukraine. It's another big step to support Ukraine in its war against Russia. And Russian leaders are responding to the news with more nuclear threats. Russia's top diplomat says by Western nations sending aid, they are effectively sabotaging peace talks. Then he said the threat of a nuclear conflict, quote, should not be underestimated. Still, the American Defense Secretary says the U.S. and dozens of other allies are standing by their promises since the stakes are high, beyond Ukraine and even beyond Europe. By the way, Russia is already following through on a different kind of threat. Starting today, the Russian government says it'll stop sending natural gas to Poland and Bulgaria because the two countries are refusing to pay in Russian rubles. Russia's president had demanded rubles instead of dollars or euros because of sanctions his country is facing over the war in Ukraine. A lot of countries have refused, so even more could be cut off soon. As the AP reports, stopping deliveries could hurt Europe's economy, driving gas prices up, among other things. But it will also be a pretty big blow to Russia's economy. To be continued. Back home in the U.S., President Biden decided to use his clemency powers for the very first time. He issued pardons for 3 people, all convicted for felonies, forgiving their crimes altogether. And he commuted the sentences of 75 more, meaning those people will not have to spend as long in prison as planned. One of the pardons went to Abraham Bolden. He was the first Black Secret Service agent to serve on a presidential detail during the Kennedy administration. But Bolden was arrested on charges of trying to sell a copy of a Secret Service file, something he says he never did. Key witnesses in his trial later admitted they lied. But Bolden still spent 3 years in prison, so now his record is wiped clean. The 2 other pardons went to people who were involved with drug deals decades ago. As for the people who got their sentences shortened, all 75 were nonviolent drug offenders. And the Biden administration says more people will be pardoned or have their sentences shortened soon. Also this week, the White House announced new steps to help former prisoners reintegrate into society. For example, $145 million will go to job training and reentry programs. There will also be more support for housing, healthcare, and more. All of those steps were approved in Congress with bipartisan support. The nation's oldest and wealthiest college is owning up to its past wrongs and taking steps to try and make them right. Harvard University released a report this week detailing its connections to slavery, segregation, and discrimination. The Ivy League school says Harvard faculty and staff enslaved more than 70 Black and Native American people in the 1600s and 1700s. And that's likely an undercount. Also, even long after that, the university says it kept profiting from slavery through donors. So now Harvard says it's going to advance research into those issues and honor enslaved people through memorials. And the university says it'll work to give the descendants of slaves more educational opportunities and more. Harvard is spending $100 million to make sure the steps are taken, and it set up a committee to figure out exactly how. Several other universities like Brown and Georgetown are examining their ties to slavery too. Major new guidance has come out about taking aspirin as a precaution. For years, doctors recommended people in their 50s start taking baby aspirin every day to keep them from getting heart attacks and strokes. But the research now says there's really not that much benefit for healthy people, and the aspirin could end up doing more harm than good. We've actually talked about this on the Newsworthy before, but now the influential U.S. Preventive Service Task Force finalized its latest recommendations. So it now officially says most people over 60 should not take a daily aspirin. And if you are between 40 and 59, the task force leaves it up to you and your doctor to decide what's right. But experts say no one should start or stop taking a daily aspirin without talking to their doctor first. This task force really does have a pretty big say in helping guide doctors' decisions, though. The recommendations could also influence insurance companies when they decide what they will or won't reimburse. All right, we have much more news still coming up, but first, this podcast is sponsored by Boll & Branch. Getting a good night's sleep is important to me. Even when I can't get as many hours as I maybe would like, I at least want the sleep I do get to be high quality. So I do my best to set myself up for success, and a big part of that is loving my sheets. Boll & Branch sheets are smooth, soft, and breathable. Maybe that's because Boll & Branch uses the best 100% organic cotton threads on earth. In fact, the sheets are made with threads so luxurious, they're beloved by 3 U.S. presidents. Boll & Branch signature sheets that now I have on my bed come in 9 versatile colors, and they come in all sizes. They're 100% free from toxins, meaning no pesticides, formaldehyde, or other harsh chemicals. And they're labeled with top and bottom tags, so making your bed is easier than ever. Best of all, Boll & Branch gives you a 30-night risk-free trial with free shipping and returns on all orders. And if you missed the Boll & Branch April sale, well, the Newsworthy listeners get exclusive access to a post-sale 20% site-wide discount through the end of April with promo code Newsworthy at bollandbranch.com. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND, branch.com with the promo code Newsworthy for 20% off through the end of April. It's said to be the first city government in the U.S. to mine Bitcoin. We're talking about Fort Worth, Texas. The city council unanimously approved the donation of 3 Bitcoin mining machines that now make up a small mining farm inside City Hall. As a reminder, Bitcoin mining is how new Bitcoins are put into circulation, and the network of these types of machines all around the world confirm new transactions. It needs professional-grade equipment, technical know-how, and a lot of electricity. That's why the mayor says they're starting small, with each machine using the same amount of energy as a typical vacuum cleaner, running 24/7. The city expects the cost of this Bitcoin mining pilot program to be covered by the value of the Bitcoin mined. The pilot program will last at least 6 months. Here's another first when it comes to Bitcoin. Fidelity will allow people to put Bitcoin into their 401k accounts, becoming the first major retirement plan provider to offer that option. The Wall Street Journal reports that Fidelity will allow retirement savers to allocate up to 20% of their nest eggs to Bitcoin. And while it's just Bitcoin right now, other cryptocurrencies could be part of this in the future. That said, not everyone with a Fidelity retirement plan will get access to this option. It's up to the companies whether to offer it to their employees. Fidelity is the largest retirement plan provider in the U.S. So with this announcement, it's moving crypto investing further into the mainstream. And it's happening despite the U.S. Labor Department sharing concerns just last month about making crypto part of workers' retirement plans. The Labor Department pointed to concerns like valuation, volatility, and changing laws and rules. But supporters believe it can raise expected returns without too much extra risk and can even help fight inflation. Either way, Fidelity expects to start rolling out this new 401k option later this year. She's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist who became the youngest woman to win a snowboarding gold in 2018 and got her second gold in Beijing earlier this year. Well, now Chloe Kim says she's taking a break. She'll sit out the entire 2022-23 snowboarding competition season to focus on her mental health. Kim told Cheddar News she wants to reset after a fun but draining year. She actually took a break after her first gold medal win, too. So just like last time, Kim says she plans to come back. This time, she'll go for her 3rd gold medal at the 2026 Winter Olympics in Italy. Of course, she's not the only athlete at the top of her game choosing to take a step back. Tennis star Naomi Osaka and Olympic gymnast Simone Biles also recently took time away for their mental well-being. SpaceX is headed back to the International Space Station, this time with 4 professional astronauts. And it's going to be another historic mission, since one of the people on board is set to be the first Black woman to join the ISS crew. She's NASA astronaut Jessica Watkins. She spoke about the milestone recently, saying she's just honored to be a part of the legacy of Black women astronauts who have come before her. She and her colleagues have a lot on their to-do list once they get to the ISS, including more than 200 science experiments and maintenance duties over the next 6 months. The rocket is set to blast into space right as we're publishing this episode. Assuming everything goes well, the crew is expected to reach the ISS at around 8 p.m. Eastern. Online creators are getting more opportunities to bring their ideas into the real world. Reddit announced it's expanding its community funds program to spend $1 million funding different projects across the platform. So Reddit is now asking communities of people to submit ideas for projects, events, contests, charities, or anything else that brings people together. Groups can ask for anywhere between $1,000 and $50,000. And starting this summer, Reddit will issue grants to support ideas that are the most creative and could have the most community impact. And that's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Work Wednesday, when we break down one interesting career or work-related news story every Wednesday. But first, a message from our sponsor, Rothy's. I know the news can sometimes feel overwhelming, and that includes the news about plastic pollution and climate change. A lot of people want to help in some way, but it can be hard to know where to start. Well, Rothy's believes even the biggest challenges can be tackled one step at a time. They make the most comfortable, stylish, and durable shoes and daily essentials, all from recycled plastic. Yep, everything Rothy's makes is better for the planet. They've repurposed millions of water bottles into their signature thread that goes into all of their products. Plus, Rothy's shoes, bags, and other essentials are made with less wasted fabric, and they're designed to be durable and washable for a stylish fit that lasts. I wear my Rothy's a lot, whether I'm walking around the block, going to the park, or meeting friends for brunch or dinner. And I've never had a single blister on my feet. And my first pair of Rothy's has now lasted years. When you're wearing Rothy's, your footprint feels lighter than ever. Get $20 off your first purchase today at rothys.com/newsworthy. That's ROTHYS, rothys.com/newsworthy. Now back to Work Wednesday. When the class of 2022 graduates next month, they'll have a lot of opportunities and some that could bring in some pretty big paychecks. A new report from the job site Monster says people entering the job market this year stand to make more money in their first job than last year's class, and the one before that, and the one before that. Almost 3/4 of the employers surveyed said they've raised their entry-level salaries in the last year. In some fields like technology, finance, and consulting, more starting salaries are now in the 6 figures. And new job seekers can probably be more selective than ever since there are so many open jobs out there right now. The National Association of Colleges and Employers says companies will hire at least 30% more new graduates this year than last. And some of those companies are really trying to get a leg up in hiring. As the Wall Street Journal reports, job recruiters are swarming America's college campuses. And they're apparently pulling out all the stops with flashier presentations, intimate gatherings, and mentorships, just to name a few. All right, thank you so much for joining us as part of your daily routine. We'll catch you up on more news to know tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.